up, party people? Sugar Baby's in the place. My name is Sugar Baby, short and sweet. Rocking on this mic so viciously because I'm from New York and that's where it's at. And if you disagree with that, you must be whack. So put it in quotes that I am the best because you know I can rock like all the rest. Hey! That's my birthday gift to you.
All right. Who knew you was a rapper?
Right.
You still got it.
I got it for my age. My age.
Right. That's why I had to start doing the WAP.
Exactly.
The tone of your rap. It wasn't today. It wasn't.
It was from the group, way beyond, right? Because
I was going to do the snake next. I was taking us back to the snake, right? That's the dance. When you 50 and over, those are the dances you know.
That's right. And you stick with that. You hear my beat was like Queen Latifah. And,
right.
One for the treble, two for the bass. Nobody does that anymore.
Not at all. Y'all kids are like.
Then be like,
what she said? She going so slow.
Exactly.
Why she rapping so slow?
Why she slow? And what's a treble?
Right.
Girl.
I had my rhyme. I was cinnamon. And mine was CINNOMON, cinnamon. I get many men from black men to Dominicans.
Ooh, no, you didn't. Yeah, that was before you died.
Right. Exactly.
See, ain't nothing good coming out of this. No. Actually, everything is coming good out of this, and that's why I'm so glad to be able to sit with you, to celebrate you going into this next journey. 50 years.
Yeah.
God, girl.
I know. I'm really excited about this season of my life, and I've been really just reflective about what are the lessons, what are the things that God has just taught me. I've been thinking about my journey, and it just led me to a place of gratitude, really just feeling a sense of gratitude. I did a little photo shoot to commemorate my 50th, my transition into 50.
Yeah.
Since I decided not to have a party. And so just having fun and just outside in the streets of Chicago.
Yes.
Just unafraid, just giving attitude, and I was styling and posing and stuff. And the people was like, happy birthday, girl. And it was so awesome because literally I did one of my shoots, one of my looks was in front of the Chicago trade, almost like the World Trade. So the Chicago trade. And so I was in the middle of the street. So the cars were coming on both sides, honking, happy birthday, girl, sorry. I mean, it was really so cool. Then I went over to Millennium Park over by the water, and over there, I mean, there was a number of weddings, and the whole wedding party, they were taking their pictures.
Oh.
They were done. They walked by, and they were like, happy birthday, girl, get it. And then it was like, who's 50? I was like, it was like, girl, stop. I'm 39. I was like, thank you.
Exactly. I would have been saying the same thing because even now I'm looking at you on the camera and everything, girl, you look good. But I'm not surprised. And, I'm so glad you had that kind of day today because you deserve it, and I love the fact that we're sitting here and the funny thing about this is we're inviting people in to see the conversations we already have and have had over the past over 20 years.
Yes.
Our conversations, we cry, we laugh, we cry, we laugh.
And laugh some more. And now we've gotten to the place where we just look at each other and start laughing. Because we get it. So I was like, you'll text me one word. This is where I'm at, and I got you.
That's it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. the funny thing about it is I think about it when we talk about this a lot, and we're going to dive in. We're not going to talk about your whole life, right now during this time, but we're going to really tap into some lessons that you've learned over your life that I know that whatever you speak about will bring life to those who hear you, and then also life to yourself. Because I want to really dive in a little bit about, love, the heart lessons that you've learned based on God's love, the people that love you, and how you even love yourself. I want to tap into your sacred lessons, things that you've picked up that they're sacred to you now because you learned that lesson. It's like you do not do anything the same way anymore.
Right.
And you mentioned it. You started it off with it, gratitude. And that's one thing I do know about you. You're grateful.
Yeah.
And you know that term because we've been many places. And you've used that word. I'm just grateful to be here.
It's such a major lesson. That's a major life lesson for me.
That is, because I'm you know me, I'm from the school like you ask, you accept, and you expect.
Right. Yeah.
So you were like, okay, well, no, this is nice, but I'm glad to be here. So we're gonna tap into that a little bit. This how you transitioned from understanding what your standard should be and being grateful, and the woman that you are today is because you recognize the transition in your life. And what's exciting for me, your birthday's in September, and that to me is one of my favorite seasons because it's about the fall, right? It's the time when you can see change being beautiful, change not being hard, but change being beautiful. And I think you're stepping into a season like that. I feel like you're coming over to the 50 side. Takes you over there. So with that being said, I do want you to tell me, like, understanding that season of change and God being in your life and being the center of your life. Tell us a little bit about when he showed up so incredibly that you couldn't deny that it was God.
Yeah. I love that question. I feel like there have been a number of times when God showed up in an incredible way that was detrimental to where I was in that particular moment. If I go back to the beginning of my story, I would have to say God showed up to the 6-year-old who had just been devastated, who had just experienced sexual assault, and God covering my mind. Even from that age, I recognized that there was a covering that was necessary for me to continue to, in my journey. And so that's the first place I would say. And then the second place I would say was as a teenager, really trying to wrestle with the whys of God. Why would you allow me to experience the things I've experienced? And where were you? And God just showing up and introducing himself to me by just simply allowing me to come in contact with people. And so what is so beautiful about the way God works is that while it may have been people that hurt me, God also used people to heal me. He also used people to show up in those moments to just speak life to me, to let me know that I was more than what I was experiencing and what life was for me, at that time. And then I would have to say in my marriage, right? I had these pivotal moments from being devastated as a child to questioning God in my teenage years, finding him, accepting him, and then God blessing me, giving me gifts. And the first gift that he gave me was as a mom, being a mother, and then also as a wife. And showing up in that space to teach me how to be a mother and how to be a wife. And I feel like those are just a couple of the incredible ways that God has showed up. And I feel like he's still doing that. Like that continues to be a thing. It continues to happen.
Yeah, and I think about that. I mean, you wear so many hats, right? You wear so many titles, whether it's mother, wife, friend, sister, daughter, minister, educator, all these things. Like when you think of that, and you just talked about being a mother and being hurt. How are you a mother when you didn't have maybe that model?
Yeah.
For, and what did you maybe have to forgive yourself about and to move into that area? Because that's a lot.
Yeah. The beauty of, I mean, in this interview, right, there'll be a lot of me talking about God, because I think in this journey, my life journey, what you see is the brokenness of humanity, the brokenness, the sin of a little girl and what she was born into, the sin of her mother. And you watch how God introduces himself, right? He finds her location and then relocates her.
That's right.
So, right. So God recognized, knew my location, knew exactly who I was, where I was, but then relocated me and actually gave me a new way of thinking, a new way of being, and a new way of functioning. The process of that was me just really being open and honest with God with my questions. And so that whole thought of, we're not supposed to ask God questions. Well, I wouldn't be here today if I wasn't asking God questions.
That's right.
I had to ask him questions like, why did you allow that? Where were you? How am I supposed to get over this? What do I do with the brokenness that now is a part of the fabric that's a part of my foundation? How do I navigate being a mother when I never saw, experienced, or felt the love of a mother? And it was through the process of God loving me that he taught me how to love my daughters. Prayer became so instrumental for me because the questions that I needed to have answered about how to do this, I went to God to get that clarity. So when I had these daughters, the first thing I knew I wanted to break was the fear of loving them and being affectionate with them. In my upbringing, because it was dysfunction, there wasn't no affection that was shown to me. And so for me, it was saying, this is uncomfortable, but I felt God saying, every time I say I love you, I want you to say it to your daughters. And so for the beginning of my journey, like the first year, every time I would go into prayer, I would get this overwhelming feeling of God saying, I love you. And when I would come out of prayer, I would turn to my daughter, which was Azalea Grace, and I would say, I love you. And so that really was one of the ways that God kind of instructed me on how to be a mother and to break one of the curses, and that is the curse of that lack of affection.
Yeah. And I know that to be true because being in your life, I've seen you raise your girls. I've seen, you with them. I see you now, even as they're adults, that compassion, that empathy, you're that ear where they can take, because, as parents, we take on different roles with our kids, but I see it. I see how your life, everything that you've gone through, you did not allow it to impact how you were going to raise your girls. There was something intentional, and I like you sharing that because people that hear this or see this will say, well, what did you do? But you just said something that is very tangible, and I hope people will catch it. You said every time you heard God saying, I love you, every time, and he said it when he forgave you. He said it when covered you. He said it when he whispered in your ear or gave you an opportunity you thought you wasn't qualified for. Right. So all of those moments when he said, I love you, I want you to say it to your girl. I want you to give it to them. And that is how you share love. That's why we connected. I mean, I remember when we connected and we were going to a women's conference and I didn't know you. You didn't know me. We introduced ourselves and we realized that our names were similar. And we said, okay, get in the car. Let's get together in the car. Exactly. And we've been together like that since. Our relationship has changed over the years, but it's been strong and consistent because you stay consistent and authentic, and I appreciate that. And so thank you for sharing a little bit of that. I mean, we're just touching the surface. I can't wait to continue to dig in more. But I do want to talk about those sacred moments, right? Because life is not always season of positivity where you see special moments and you get those messages. There are times of hardship. Right? And so one of the things I was thinking about when you talk about your journey and your life of hardship is what thing that was so hard but became a doorway for you. What became a doorway? Like you took this hard thing and now you used it to walk you into a new place.
Yeah, I would have to say that's a hard question only because I feel like God uses all of the elements of our journey. When I think back from my 20s through my 30s, that's the hardest season of life for me because I was still in the process of unlayering the hurt, the abandonment, the fears, the brokenness that were a part of my foundation. And so I was still unlayering and unearthing some of those things while having the responsibility of being a mother and of being a wife. So while I love and I appreciate, what you just said in regards to seeing me as a mom and not allowing some of those things from my past to infiltrate. But I have to be honest and transparent and say that 2020 hindsight, when I look back at that season of life, that there were still elements of my brokenness that showed up. And so what that looked like was me protecting my girls or feeling like I needed to protect my girls from everything. From everything, whether even their father. There was this overprotection of them that did not allow for the man that God gave us, the set gift that God gave us, to utilize his insight, to utilize his voice to impact and to really affect those girls. And because I stood in the gap of wanting to always, from the moment they were born. So from, I remember Azalea being a baby, and every time she would cry, I would jump up because I didn't want her to be somebody else. Right. I didn't want anyone else to change her but me. And so I remember, Greg saying to me, "Girl, leave me alone with my daughters. I need you. This. Yes, I'm gonna need you to step back." And so I think there were ways when my brokenness still showed up. I think about, Greg choosing to watch a basketball game instead of coming to bed with me on time because, we watched the Huxtables. The Huxtables went to bed together. They turned off the living room light
That's
together.
right. That was our motto.
Yeah, they turned off the light together and went upstairs, got in the bed together, gave each other.
That's right.
And you know what I mean? And they went to sleep together. So now here I am, right? I've never seen a normal family.
That's right.
All I've seen was the Huxtables. And so when it was time to go to bed, but Greg wants to watch a basketball game and it's 10:30, I'm saying, I don't understand. It's time for us to go to sleep.
That's right.
And so what do you mean you want to watch a game? And so now I go to bed feeling abandoned.
Yeah.
Girl, what?
That's playing our role. That's our role, right?
What? Why are you feeling abandoned? Because the man wants to watch a game and not go to sleep when you want to go to sleep, right? So those lessons, I think, are so tremendous in just the evolution of how God has brought me. And I would say that is a sacred moment. That is a sacred lesson that God continues to teach me. And I think to add to that question, still in that question about the sacred moments, is also the moment when God broke me free from feeling like he was my all in all. That is such a significant moment because my dysfunction when I got into marriage showed up with me trauma bonding to my husband.
That's right. That's
and
right.
I didn't recognize it as trauma bonding, of course, right? I'm thinking, this is my person. You know, I spiritualized it. This is the gift God gave me.
That's right.
He's going to love me like God loves me.
Right. Exactly.
He's human,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so when God began to work on me and help me to break free so that I can actually find my own happiness, so that I can find my own identity, that was one of the most tremendous lessons I could have ever learned.
Yeah. And I think one of the beauties even of our relationship, when we talked about your authenticity, is that even times when we talk, because I'm married too, so we got the whole married thing. When we talk. But one of the things we were sure about, no matter how much we felt about it, I would never say, girl, what are you doing in that? Mm-hmm. We stood together to say, no, this is who God is. What did you do wrong? How do you see your situation? I think that's the beauty of transformation that you carry sacred to, is identifying, this is how I feel. This is what I did, and no longer pointing like this. But recognizing what you could do. And I think you also talked about when God transformed you in that moment. I'm thinking of bruises, right? Like the bruises you brought into that situation. And I want to ask, like, what's the bruise that you no longer hide that keeps you authentic? Because, girl, when I think of people who are real and authentic, because you know that whole blanket love, we don't do.
We don't do blanket love.
Right.
I love you and everybody.
Exactly. We don't do the blanket love, but we are very specific.
Yes.
And so I want to hear, like, how did that feel to have to lay that in order for you to see your identity and your true identity? You had to kind of let go of some stuff, right? And you had to no longer hide behind certain things. So what was that? What was that bruise?
That bruise, I would say, is worthiness. I mean, I don't know how one comes out of a dysfunctional and abusive childhood without having the question of worthiness. Because if my mother didn't love me, and if my father wasn't there to save me and protect me, then am I worthy? Was I worthy enough for anyone to see me, to find me, to help me? I remember a social worker, somebody called the authorities on just what was going on in our household. They saw all these people coming in and out and things of that nature. And someone called the authorities, and a social worker came, and she looked in the cabinets and she saw some cans of food. She looked in the refrigerator and she saw water and maybe a carton of eggs. And she left and said that the household looked like everything was okay.
Wow.
But she didn't look at me. Because if she had just looked at me, she would have seen the outward bruises. And if she'd have looked into my eyes, sis, she would have saw the fear and the bruising of a child who was in an abusive situation. But she never looked at me. And so that sense of worthiness is the thing that I constantly have to surrender to God, because it shows up. It has shown up every day. Every day, every year, every decade, it has shown up in one way or another. And the beauty of turning 50 is that my eyes are open. My eyes are open to understand when the questions that I am asking, when the things that I am battling internally are stemming from a place of not feeling worthy, so that I can then speak to the little girl. I can speak to 6-year-old Tisha, right? Because I'm Tish today.
Right.
But Tisha is who was on the inside, and she's the one that when her mom would call her out the window and say, Tisha, bring your behind upstairs, I would tremble. I would be nervous and scared because I didn't know what I was getting ready to walk into. When worthiness comes up, I got to say to Tisha, you're okay. You're safe. You do belong here. You good. You are smart enough.
That's right.
You got this, girl. You got this.
Right. That's right.
I got to talk to her.
Yeah, and I love that, because that's exactly what I was going to ask you is, what would you say to the little girl? Because we talk, when we talk and something's going on, I'll say, or you say, okay, this is the little girl Tisha talking. Right. And we start off like that.
Yes.
We start off with letting you know who's talking in this space, because it's something that never leaves. But I love how you have conditioned yourself, or you continue to make a way for you to give yourself liberty to admit that. So that's the bruise that, you know, you no longer hide, but you still work through it. Absolutely. And I love it. And I think whoever hears that and can think of their, you know, and it's funny, we're both called Tisha. That's the other crazy thing about it. Our families call us Tisha. And on this, we're Tish and Tisha, but we're both Tisha, so we relate to that. And so thank you for sharing that, because I know some woman that's going to hear this is going to recognize, okay, this is the little girl Tisha. When I'm bucking up, this is the little girl Tisha. And whatever their name is, it's the little girl in you. So how do you address that?
Yeah. I think the other important element of that, right, is that sometimes to whomever, because I know that we have a broad audience. And so to whoever hears that, it may not be that you have to go all the way back to the little girl, Tisha. It may be that your trauma took place even, you know, as an adult, in some adult relationships or in an adult friendship. So,
that's right.
So the trauma that we're referring to doesn't necessarily have to be the voice of a little 6-year-old girl. It could just simply be the girl from last year.
That's right.
Who was traumatized, who found herself in an unhealthy situation. And while working through that unhealthy situation, recognizing that no, I'm in a different place today.
That's right.
One of the things that I have recognized is that with God, I've been able to continue to grow when I've been obedient to him. Yeah. It's been my obedience to God, hearing his voice, seeking to understand. That was the other thing. I didn't just enter, and I don't say these things from a place, I say it from a place of humility. I don't say it from a boisterous place, because I do believe that I was led by God to be in the space that I find myself in. But when I asked questions, I didn't just simply ask the question, I also wanted further understanding, right? So it's almost like, think about, you know, AI, right? And many of us are using AI today.
That's right.
And so you can type in a superficial question. AI is going to give you a very superficial, broad answer.
That's right. That's right.
You then have to ask the next level question, because you recognize that the question that I asked originally didn't get me to the depth that I need to look for and that I really want to go. So in my relationship with God, it hasn't, and even still, it is not just me asking one question. It's been the following questions. It's the follow-up questions that led me into really unearthing and going to the root of the matter.
There you go.
It's tracing a behavior, tracing it all the way down to the root. Why am I thinking like this? Why do I feel like this, right? There was an impulse that's rising up in me, starting from my stomach, all right? Because that's usually where it starts. The moment something hit you wrong, that thing hit your stomach and your chest, you're like, oh, wait, this ain't, I'm ready to go off. This ain't sitting right with me.
That's right.
But the question is, why is this hitting me this way? Why? As I trace the root to it, then we often find that it's actually something deeper happening within us, and not totally necessary the fault of another person.
That's right. And I would say, even, you know, I'm like, you ain't got to go into detail.
Yeah.
But what's one of the whys? What's one of the whys? Like, do you know why you felt unworthy, or do you know why? You know, what's the why?
Yeah, you know, if I am completely transparent, I think as I walk into 50, one of the major whys for me is, why haven't I gone deeper in my education? That's a sore spot for me. Part of it is because of the brokenness of my foundation and my mother keeping me out of school. So like when she, just was in the space that she was in, and I don't want to make this conversation, a ugly stain on her, because as I look at her story, right, and we'll talk about what's next for me in the next 50, but I want to write a book on her story. Because when I look deeply into her story, I understand that her hurt, her lashing out was the result of some stuff that was going on in her life, right? But because of where she was, I spent a lot of time out of school. I missed a lot of school early on in life, and that left me not feeling smart. And so, education has always been something that's very scary for me. And so that's a big why for me, of like, why didn't I take advantage of, going to school and deepening my theological even calling,
But what's so interesting about that, and thank you for sharing that, because I think people are going to connect to that. People are going to connect to why don't they have letters behind their name, or why couldn't they continue on. But I look at what you've done and where you are and what you've accomplished. You are not one who will just settle with an answer. Right. You dig to find the reason behind. So you are always asking the why. You are always at, well, why is that? Or what does that mean? If you hear a word that you don't know, you look it up. Yeah. Like, so your education, you may not have journeyed through a formal education. Yeah. But I'm telling you, girl, every time we talk, you find something, you stay tuned in what's happening in pop culture, you stay tuned in what's happening in news, you stay tuned in what's happening in politics, religion, theology. You study the word like you want to know. So God has been teaching you. You may not have what you think you're supposed to have behind you, but I watch you as a student of life. And so whatever that means to you about having that formal education, you may or may not need it. But I get it. We all have our own goals. Yeah. But the way you educate yourself in life is sort of that key that you take with you. I think because of that, you've turned that into a key of life, right? It's one of your sacred things. It's the things you keep. You always are finding out about yourself. And that's what I want to really, as we begin to wrap up, and we never have enough time. Because, I water here, but, we can sit and talk because there's some nuggets that you take with you, and I call them the keys that you carry. Yeah. Right? Yeah. The keys that that are staple because of all that's happened in your past. Yeah. What it may be the 3 keys that for sure that because of that, you use this key to unlock where you are right now.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that question. Yeah. I would say one has got to be the way that I deal with fear. The way that I deal with fear is a lesson that God taught me in one of my most fearful moments. And the Lord literally said to me, you can stand composed and you can stand upright because I'm upholding you. Like on Christ, the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sacred sand, is sinking sand, right? And that's a song that we sung in the Baptist church, which is a part of my foundation with my grandmother, right? Who I attribute to saving my life. Yeah. Bessie Lou Springer is the woman who, saved me out of dysfunction and then raised me and my sisters. And so going to church with her, you would always hear on Christ. They would sing the song, on Christ, the solid rock I stand, all of the ground is sinking sand. And the Lord said to me in the most fearful moment, he said, everything else is sinking sand. But as long as you are standing upon me, I will not let you fail.
Yeah.
And so that is a lesson and a key that I take with me. I hold very dear, and it continues to unlock doors, because every new door that I have to walk through, there is a sense of fear. But God says, you standing on me, you good. Just go ahead through the door. I know you may feel like you don't know how to do it, but I promise you that when you step into it, you're going to have everything you need to be successful in that new place, right? And that has been even my professional testimony has been that as I've walked through, keep walking through the door, girl, keep walking. I'm like, all right, I'm walking. Exactly. And as I walk through the doors, literally, I'm standing on Christ, the solid rock, right? So that's one.
That's it.
The other one would have to be my understanding about my resilience. I remember I've been criticized about my resilience. I went to therapy, and the therapist, and this was as an adult, and the therapist, as I began to share with him my story, I shared with him, about how I took care of my mother. I shared with him some other details and things that I had been, lamenting over and dealing with. And he just sat back, and he was just so perplexed with, like, I don't know that your resilience is healthy, is what he said to me. He's like, I don't know that the way that you just keep loving people and you keep bouncing back, I don't know how healthy that is. He was like, you don't seem unhealthy, but I just don't know, right? And so he was confused. So I never went back to him.
I was gonna say, did we go back? Do we like him?
Right. I'm like, you sound confused. I'm not.
Let's switch seats.
Right, exactly. Let me help you understand about this.
Right.
But here's the beauty of it, that my resilience comes from the lesson that God said to me with tears in my eyes, me begging God for a way of escape. And he said to me, Tish, it's right here, right now, that you look the most like me. When I was on the cross and I was sweating and I was bleeding and I was in pain, I did it for a reason. I did it for a purpose. I understood, right? The word of God says that it was for the joy set before him. And that joy that was set before him was us. It was his people. It was humanity. And when God said to me that in your hardest moments, when you are broken, when you are bleeding, when you are in pain, that is the moment where you look the most like me. Yeah. Don't shy away from the hard seasons. Don't shy away from the pain that you experienced, because that's when you look like me the most. And sis, that's the birthing place for my resilience. Yeah. Why? How do I keep loving the way that I love for as long as I have loved? Yeah. Because I look like my father. Why I no longer question the empathy of my heart. I no longer question why I can look at a person who one would say doesn't deserve love or doesn't deserve forgiveness. I can look at that individual and I can still love, and I can see something deeper in that individual, because that's the gifting, that's the heart that God has given me. Yeah. And so I no longer apologize for my heart. And me having that empathetic heart has given me the resilience. It's given me my bounce back. It's given me the ability to continue to press forward beyond my human capacity. That's one of the fruit of the Spirit. Long suffering. It is to suffer long with individuals, right? It is to endure the journey with an individual, and not when everything is good, but long suffering. It's suffering through it. It's suffering with the person, right? And so I would say that's another one. So it's Christ as my solid foundation. It's resilience. And then finally, I would say another key that continues to unlock for me is my love for people. I have this curiosity about people's journey. I want to understand what makes you click. I want to understand why you think like that. I want to see marriages. I want to see marriages make it. I want to see people reunited with their Heavenly Father. I want to see people reunited with themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's also, I think, a key that continues to unlock for me, because God, I keep proving to God, and I keep trying to prove to God that He can trust me with His people. And so that keeps moving me forward. And the more I prove that He can trust me with His people, the more access to people He gives me.
That's right. And I know that to be true too. You have definitely a heart for people. You have definitely, I've watched you pour out in ministry when you minister, and where some would say, okay, where's my entourage? Let's get going. You're like, oh, but Minister Tish is still at the altar talking. Somebody rescue her. And no. So that is why God is, I don't know if you're convinced yet or not, but I see it, and I know that He's trusting you, the people that He's put in your life, in your path, the places He's taken you to speak life into not only women, but men and teenagers and young women and kids. You know, it's because you have that heart. You have a heart for them. It's authentic. And so I appreciate that. And I know, you know, as we wrap up, right?
We got some time.
Okay, good. Because one of the things I was just thinking now, as you're turning 50, what's laying on your chest?
Yeah.
Like what's laying on your chest that you want to do or say or go or be? Yeah. What's the next thing?
Yeah. What's next is continuing to pour out these lessons. The most beautiful experience happened for me this summer. And that was the privilege and opportunity to minister to teen moms. And so that is not something that was on my radar. It just, you know, these are opportunities that as I continue to say yes to Jesus, He continues to open doors, you know, new places and spaces for me to pour out. And so I think what's next for me is looking for additional doors, new places and spaces where I get to actually share everything that God has taught me. Because my story, as I reflect over the past 50 years, my story and my journey is literally about a girl who was broken, who became a teenager who was broken, who became a young adult who was a little less broken, who is now a grown, you know, middle-aged woman who is a little less, you know, a little less.
Right. Have some cracks.
Exactly. And so, but that crack is so necessary. That crack is how I continue to yearn for God and how I continue to rely and depend on Him to show me, to teach me, to guide me, and to lead me. And He just hasn't failed. So what's next is continuing to pour through multiple spaces and places. You know, I talked about, you know, the book about my mother. I really want to tell my story. So I want to get that story out about my life. But then I also want to get that story about my mom. I want to get her story out. I want to continue. You know, Greg and I, we're celebrating 25 years of marriage, which is absolutely insane to me. It is incredible because you're looking at a woman who's never seen marriage. You're looking at a woman who, I'm only here by God's voice. I've only been able to sustain because if it was me, I would have messed it up. I would have self-sabotaged. My brokenness, right, showed up in the marriage. Man, I would have completely and tried to completely destroy it. But thank God for His word that says, let no man put asunder, right, what He has joined together. And that no man, oftentimes we think externally, but I can talk about plenty of times when the no man was me.
That's right.
Let no man.
Don't put this no man. That means you holding your own head back.
Right. Let no man put asunder. And so when I think about that, I think about this incredible God who has continuously pursued this person. And so I want to introduce to those who don't recognize that God is pursuing them, I want their eyes and hearts to be open, that there is a God that loves them and that is pursuing them. And so I want to do that through media. I want like this, this right here, the Tisha podcast, as I speak into existence, the podcast.
In the name.
Our travel adventures, right? Like just sharing that. The books, More Whole, which is my coaching organization that my LLC that I started this year, where I am able to merge not only the lessons that I've learned, in life, but also as I have grown professionally, there's a lot that I am able to offer into organizations to coach on what it means to unify their teams, to talk about how to build people, to talk about the art of relationship building.
That's right.
And so really just merging those two spaces together in More Whole. So you heard it first here. More Whole is a coaching organization, nonprofit, that it really is designed to bring all of the things I do, discipling, life coaching, marriage coaching, bringing them all together and really being able to let God use my life in all of these facets. I just joined the board of Young Lives, which is a part of the Young Life organization, but that is the sector that is primarily focused on teen moms. So I sit on the board of Young Lives here in Chicago. And so my goal there is to make sure that resources are available for teen moms to teach and to kind of help to cultivate some of those teen moms to tap into their gifts. But more importantly, to help them understand the importance of prayer and how prayer moves you forward.
That's right.
So yeah.
I mean, you got a lot. You have a lot going on. I'm sitting here just excited because, I mean, you celebrating 25 years. I think we've known each other over 20 something years.
Yes.
And so just to see the transition, I love to see how you're just diving in and jumping in. You talked about the fear and just pushing past it. And I hope that everyone that's listening here could see your life in the journey. You may not have to have all the details of someone's life to see what they're representing, but I loved how you shared. Because some people think and they see you and they think, oh, I want to do that. She makes it look so easy. Or I want to be her because she makes it look so easy. But they don't know the path that you had to get there. Yeah. But I do want them to know that even no matter what path they're on, they can get there.
Absolutely.
So whatever their picture they want to do. So I would say with your husband celebrating 25 years with you, half your life up until 50, what's the one thing he would say about you today? What's the one word he would describe Tisha as?
Yeah. What would Greg say? I think, there's two words, right? There's the word, there's the inside, right? There's the internal, and then there's the public facing word. I think, if you asked him in the inner circle, he would probably say, child, she's fiery. She's a firecracker. But you know what? Here's what I've learned, and it has taken me so long to believe that he truly loves me, and that comes from the unworthiness. And so, no matter what he did or what he said, it always leaked out because of the void that existed in my life, from my childhood. And so, it has taken me all of this time to come to the space of saying, I believe him. I believe that he loves me. And I think what I hear him say to me is that I am someone who is a go-getter. I hear him when I am talking to him and I'll be saying, because Greg, this generation, they do things differently. Like, I'm not entrepreneurial and I'm not this, and I'm talking about all the things I'm not. And he's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. You have been managing a prayer group live consistently for more than 5 years. You have been discipling young women for over 10 years. He's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. He was like, you're an author. You've written a book. You've been on this podcast, like, what are you talking about? You're absolutely entrepreneurial. What are you saying to me?
That's right.
And so as I listen to him often, remind me, just like in his frustration, right? Like it doesn't even come out in like this beautiful heart to heart, right? It's in his frustration of like, girl, just stop.
Already.
Yeah, like stop with the bringing yourself down. Stop with the not recognizing who you are. And so I think he would say that I am a go-getter. I think that he would say that that I'm a businesswoman and that he's proud, of me. I think he would say that I am a praying woman. Yeah. I think he would say that he's lucky. And if you don't say it, he should say it.
He should. But I think he also will say you're consistent. One thing he knows that you got his back. If anything happens, you have his back. And he knows that for sure.
Yes.
And that's how you are, just consistent. You're consistent with what you say and who you say, whether we get it right or wrong sometimes.
Yes.
We're consistent in our wrongness.
In our fiery, not wrong, fiery.
In our fieriness.
But because it comes from a place of deep love. Like it is the lioness.
Yes.
Like there is
that goes hunt. That's right.
There's nothing more important to me than my daughters, my grandson, and that Greg Moore. There is the what?
I know.
You want to see me lose?
Yeah.
It will look like Jesus was never in my life.
You drop all the keys.
All the keys. Go just dangling to the floor. And you mess with Greg Moore, you mess with them girls, and you mess with my Matthias. What? You know what I mean? But I love my family. I love my family, my sisters.
Yes.
I am my father. I am so grateful to the beautiful things that God has allowed. You know what? Another special moment, a special thing that God has allowed to happen is through, the Wednesday 6:15 prayer call that I do. My family joins, my aunts, my dad's sisters from Florida and from all of, South Carolina and all of the different places. My dad is on every Wednesday, sis. And my aunts and my uncles are on. And this sense of family that I never felt, all of a sudden in this space, they are allowing me to lead them in this sacred space of prayer on Wednesdays. And they are faithful. My cousins that I hadn't spoken to in years. In that space, God has gifted me to where when I go on Wednesdays, not only am I seeing long-term sisters and friends and colleagues, but I'm also seeing my dad and his sisters and my aunts and my uncles and my cousins. And so that is extremely special for me. My dad is my only living parent that I have left. And God has redeemed our relationship, and now I look forward to his text every day when he says, "Good morning, daughter. It's going to rain today. Make sure you got an umbrella," And so God has just redeemed, and he's just created these sweet moments, or, looking into the face of my daughter's child. Those are sweet, sweet moments. And so, the beauty of this big age is what the young people call it, right? This big age.
The big age.
the beauty of this big age.
Yes.
I get to just take it in. I'm comfortable finally.
Take it in, babe.
Finally, I am comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
I am truly happy from the inside out. This is not a show for
No. Yes.
This is there is a joy that the Lord has given and the world can't take away.
Take it away.
And you know, all of these things I say, right, sound so old school. That's how I know I'm 50, because I keep these old scriptures. These old sayings. But I think because you realize,
but it's part of you, yeah.
You realize that no, those things that our ancestors and
That's
our
right.
grandparents were saying, that was that keeping substance.
That was that stick glue. That's right.
Yes.
Right. That's right. So that no, I appreciate it. And you know, many people, they see you in different capacities, but not many can get an opportunity to hear your story in segments like this and hear the lessons you've taken with you. And just the fact that you just wanted to share your birthday by giving this message to empower others, to touch others, to, you know, sit and talk with you and I, and, you know, have this time is incredible. And it speaks volumes of the type of woman that you've become, right?
Amen.
And I'm grateful for our sisterhood, for our friendship.
Yes.
I'm grateful for everything that God is doing in your life. You know, just because I'm connected, I know that I'm blessed. So I ain't worried. I want to say to you, though, as we wrap up, I'm going to do this quick 2-word thing. So I'm going to say a statement, you fill in the blank. Okay. All right? So at 50, I am
at peace.
The lesson I'd hand my younger self is,
you are loved.
Wow. God turned my blank into blank.
God turned my pain into ministry.
My life is proof that
God is a healer.
Wow. I love it. And you just said it, just to thank you, girl. And you just said a few minutes ago that you are comfortable in your skin. That's why those answers came to you. And whoever's watching this, if you didn't know Nitisha before as being authentic, this is authentic. Yes, we thought about the road we would go down today, but we didn't script any questions. Yeah. We didn't script any of this because I wanted, and you deserve, for people to see you in your authenticity. So what they think they know, now they know.
But now you know.
Right. So now write that in your.
Now you know.
Exactly. So now you know we old school because we are, and you know that. We didn't say period. So what I love about you is that your life just doesn't tell stories, right? It hands us lessons. Yeah. And so 50 years, some of those years you remember and some you don't. But the times that you do, you have generated some lessons that you can pass on. Yeah. And so you can look back and say, my pain has turned into purpose and all the that you've done. So as we wrap up our time, I want to give you the last word. Yeah. Right? I want you to say, if people could only remember one thing from this time together, what do you want that to be? Yeah. I have to point to my Lord and my Savior, Jesus Christ. I am absolutely convinced by way of evidence that God can find you where you are, regardless of where you are, whether you are a child, a young adult, whether you are an elder, whether you are middle-aged, that God can find you where you are and he will meet you at the point of your need, right in that space. And the only thing that we have to do is really have real conversations with him. We don't have to perform. We don't have to act as though everything is okay, because he already knows the truth about who we are anyway. And yet he still loves us and shows up for us. And so the one thing that I want you to walk away from hearing my story knowing is that there is a God, and that God is in pursuit of you. That God loves you. That God is the one who
can take whatever broken pieces you thought were unsalvageable. God can take those broken pieces and create a masterpiece. And I only know it because whatever you see about me, even the elegance that you're looking at.
That's right.
but because and I say it joking, but I say it with all realness.
Yes.
You're looking at a young lady from the South Bronx. You're looking at a young lady who didn't have a sense of style or didn't understand classiness. You know, you're looking at someone that God taught how to be a woman. And so God can take whatever's broken and turn it into something so beautiful, well beyond what you can think or imagine. That is the God that is in pursuit of you.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You and I,
girl. You're my travel buddy.
Yes. And when I thought about this, right, and I thought about who I wanted to be in this space with, who just as insightful, who is spirit-led, and who I feel safe with. And you're just that person. You are that person for me. You know, from calling you on the side of the road saying, sis, what the heck? Right? To, you know, us traveling and having different experiences, and that lesson that we never got around to, that you taught me, that was a part of my worthiness. Is like, girl, we got to come stay in that room that they gave us. we can ask this, what else you got? Like, is this the best room you got? Right? And so just watching, and that's how God has taught me as well. It's the people that he has positioned around me that have taught me major lessons. And so just watching you navigate and being authentically who you are, right? It wasn't pop in circumstance. There was a sincere curiosity of us walking into spaces and you wanting to know. So, okay, this your car? So this is the car that's gonna take us around today. This the best car? Is there? You got a Cadillac? You got rooftop?
I said, oh, you putting us in the president's suite? We want the president's suite. Right. But that is so important, and that's such a major lesson. And so I love you tremendously. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being my sister. Thank you for being a safe space. Thank you for carrying my secrets. Thank you for not judging my secrets. Thank you for not seeing my brokenness and shying away, but stepping into my brokenness with me and us journeying through it together. I'm grateful for you. I love you beyond words, sis. Amen. Girl, we got through this whole thing without crying.
I'm amazed.
I am too.
Because I saw you almost, and then you collected.
Yeah, and I was like, nope. This is not it.
This is not the time.
Exactly. We're going to, I see this as the start, like you said, of something that God is definitely has put us together for a reason. And I see it, and I see the vision of what you're thinking of, and how we can make this happen. I'm definitely that's going to be on our next trip. Right? That's going to be on our trip. It works. Exactly. That's going to be, we're going to have to record that, because they don't know that we do be recording our vacations. We should put that in. So we can see what we really be doing. But and this is like the first in 5 years that we haven't taken a trip on your birthday. But it's coming. It's coming.
Yes.
Deserve it. And you just, like I said, you look beautiful, and you're stepping in this season with grace. And thank you for your words of wisdom. Thank you for your lessons, because we teach each other. Even though you're younger than me, we still teach.
I'm still the baby. I'm the
baby with wisdom and lessons.
Right.
So we don't take that for granted. But I love you. And I just pray that every person that hears this will be blessed, and that you will continue to walk in grace and glory as God continues to lead you. I love you, sis.
Love you. Thank you, sis. Thank you.
Thank you.